All right, so this is where we have, and just watch.
MGM Resorts, Caesars, so many others, with these breaches costing millions and millions of dollars to fix. It's a good reminder that we like the best cybersecurity stocks because their offerings are essential. Businesses need to protect themselves from the bad guys, and they're willing to spend a
Yeah, so we'll move on and see what his first question to her.
Fortinet and CrowdStrike combined.
So this is important to listen.
Here in cybersecurity revenue. Now that is larger than Palo Alto Networks, Fortinet, and CrowdStrike combined.
So he mentioned the cybersecurity budget and the revenue for Microsoft is more than Fortinet, CrowdStrike, and one more company, Palo Alto.
You don't often hear about Microsoft's cybersecurity business, though, because it's only one piece of a much larger enterprise. In fact, we most commonly hear about these guys when some other cybersecurity vendors talking down their competition, including right here on this program. But Microsoft's the leader here. So
let's see what his question.
And I tell you, well, I'm just glad to have her here. Ms. Chika, welcome to Mad Money.
Thank you, Jim. It's great to be here.
I want to get right to it, Vasu. I feel like that we have had many people say things about Microsoft cybersecurity. How about we hear from Microsoft what cybersecurity is?
Absolutely. To start.
So I'll make a pause. So many people will be wondering like why Microsoft isn't security all of a sudden. So I do agree that I know some friends, some people who's been in the industry for so many years. Microsoft was not leading in that space, and they were known for software. But things have changed, and especially with the AI, it's going to be a game changer.
Start with cybersecurity is about trust. And today, 1 million customers around the world use Microsoft Security. They stable because we are a leading software trillion signals company.
So I want you to listen to that.
So every single day, Jim, we process 65 trillion signals. And we use these signals to.
So signal means they have intelligence. They have where the signals are coming from. Basically, she's talking about trillions of signals, right? So every PC is in the world on a computer. Is a Windows 11, Windows 10, 7, you name it. This is an endpoint basically is installed. So they get the signals from there. They get the signals from the browser. They get the signal from Microsoft 365, email, Azure. So this is what she's talking about. They have the infrastructure. It took them like 40 years since 80s. And they have Windows. Now they're in cloud and Azure. So wherever they have these endpoints, even in the cloud, even in the email. So this is where they're collecting the signal, and they are able to collect trillions of signals.
Understand deeply what's happening on the front lines of security, nation state, ransomware. And there are three things that we need to watch out for: speed, scale, and sophistication.
So speed and scale cannot be achieved without the help of cloud.
Because we're seeing unprecedented threat landscape. As an example, we're seeing 4,000 password attacks per second.
Yeah, so 4,000 password attacks per second. Listen to it.
Second.
Yeah.
As an example, we're seeing 4,000 password attacks per second.
Yeah, password attack per second. So a human cannot do that. You need an AI. People has to write the programs. You have to be using those. So I'm not saying Microsoft is doing, but for the sake of this video, we're talking about Microsoft. So that's kind of power you're looking at, how good your system is to detect those attacks.
Per second.
Per second.
Well, what company can really try to take on that?
That's right. Absolutely. And that's why we feel security is a team sport. And here's what Microsoft has done for that, right? Because to address these attacks, we have to do three things really effectively. One, we have to be able to see, like have visibility, because you cannot protect what you cannot see.
Okay.
So in the visibility she's talking about, I can spend pretty much an hour just on the topic of the visibility. Depending what size of organization do you work, or even if you have customer, visibility is more important. So I can give you a high level where the disconnect is if you're still watching this video. So disconnect is you're in a cloud or you're in hybrid, then you got to make sure you have the visibility in both environment. When you're in the cloud, it can be a SaaS, PaaS, or IaaS, infrastructure service platform, or the software. So if you have an infrastructure and you have let's say Azure cloud and you have 365, so you want to make sure you have visibility in both of these environments because they're different. So how do you make sure these environments are visible? And it even gets more complicated when you have multi-cloud, like you're using Azure, AWS, and GCP, and Oracle, and Salesforce. even it gets worse. You got to make sure your databases, your storage, your bucket, you name it. You got to have the visibility. This is what she's talking about. And it applies to any other security protocol or product.
That's why those 65 trillion signals matter. Second, you have to protect comprehensively. A lot of people talk about platforms and end-to-end security, but what does comprehensive mean? It's protecting your house, every room in the house, the roof, the foundation, the safe, and also the neighborhood. And Microsoft has the large to your cloud, all of that, helping us defend at machine speed and scale, especially given the cybersecurity challenge our customers trust us.
The bad guys. The bad guys have generative AI too. The bad guys have increased just from your own work. In the last year, tenfold of password attacks from last year. I mean, now if they have AI, if they're bombarding us, how can we hope to stop it?
Yeah, so very good question. So it's not Microsoft or any security companies having this power of AI and cloud computing. Attackers are as well. And you say tenfold means either 4,000 password attacks last year. Before that would have been like what, 400. I'm just doing the math basically based on that has gone up, and it will keep on increasing. So
we first and foremost, we need deep collaboration and deep partnerships because the bad actors work together.
So she's talking about collaboration partnerships. So let's listen to her.
We as defenders need to work together.
North Korea, China,
North Korea, China, Iran, Russia, Vietnam, so many. We have to make sure that we as defenders and organizations work together, public sector and private sector. We also have to make sure that we leverage AI for real good because it has this power to elevate the human potential. The most serious of challenges, train this AI on to understand security. So I'm really hopeful that with these collectively.
Had George Kurtz on a number of times. He often talks about how that Microsoft basically has given him a de facto way to be able to have a lot of business. Now, I imagine that if I am a CEO of a company, maybe it's just belt and suspenders. Why wouldn't I want everybody? Like Microsoft, I might want to have CrowdStrike. Maybe I want Zscaler just reported. How do you deal with the CEO who says, look, I really want more than just Microsoft? Is that okay?
So first of all, we partner with the entire ecosystem. Okay. We are partnering with 15,000 companies and organizations, 300 security.
So this goes back to my beginning of the call on this recording. Like she's talking about the partnership, right? So Microsoft all alone cannot do that, right? Any environment you have Windows, or at the same time you have storage, you have network, you have firewall, you have routers and switches. That's what she's talking about. You have to collect the intelligence from all those resources. So a typical organization, if you talk about, let's say 5,000 user organization, you need routers, switches, cloud, email, databases, file share, antivirus, right? You think all of these data needs to be in data security platform, and this is where you need to knowing that. So that's very important.
Security vendors are building on our platforms. And the way we address this is no one company can do this without others. And we go back to two things that we're doing: fundamentally building secure software. And we have initiatives like customers.
Okay, I want you to put me in the secret room that you have. Someone is studying China, what China's doing right now. What would you expect at this very second China might be doing?
We have to protect our world confidence, everyone, and detect everything to play a big role.
Cybersecurity. Did someone report to Mr. Nadella and tell him?
A lot of threat intelligence briefs. It's front and center of everything we do, because even as we look at AI, responsible AI, has
on their hearing, and I don't want them to be scared, but it's quite obvious that we're being overwhelmed right now. What can an individual do to protect themselves?
So first and foremost, we have to truly understand what we are up against. And we have to recognize that cybersecurity is about everyone, not just some people, you, me.
So just to sum up the call, you can watch this. She's talking about cybersecurity is everyone's job. So there is no 100% security. Any organization, any individual cannot achieve the 100% cybersecurity, right? So it's the roles and responsibility goes across. So again, if you work for an organization, you have security operations team, security architecture, all that, then you have an IT operation, you have database system, right? So you all have to work together. And also the end user computing also has to come together, right? So there has to be like cyber awareness program, cyber training, and make them aware, the basic fundamentals and all that. So that goes also. But again, it was good. I think it's really good to see. And as I said, there will be going to have a lot of opportunity. So if you like it, let me know. We'll see you in the next video. Thank you and bye-bye.